Salmi played one run in this match. It's a big six. Karachi have won.
It's a young franchise, but they've done it.
Take it down from here. What a stab.
Moin Khan, a Pakistan cricket superstar. Inspired and mentored by him, his son took up cricket and began to make rapid strides. Emerging from the shadows of his father, Azam Khan has taken the cricket world by storm with his sensational power hitting.
Oh, cracked and fatted by Azam Khan.
But it's time for an intriguing family rivalry with the new superstar of Pakistan up against a side coached by his father. This is also a grim battle for the survival of Quetta, languishing at the bottom.
Gone, trying to heat it away.
Can they snap their losing streak and make a bid for the playoffs? Or will the batting firepower of United once again blow away their opponents?
Lovely evening here in Rawalpindi. We're here at the Pindi Cricket Stadium and it is match number 21 where we'll see the home side in action once again. Islamabad United take on Quetta Gladiators who really need to lift themselves in HPL PSL season 8. Mathematically, Quetta Gladiators still has a chance. I mean, it doesn't look good for them. It doesn't look good, but it doesn't mean that they're completely out of the competition. Anything can happen. Islamabad United winning their previous game in sublime fashion, courtesy that innings by Azam Khan, and they are on 8 points. Happy faces from Islamabad United. Alex Hales has joined them. He played the previous game, did well for them. And this bunch is always a happy one. That's the one thing about Islamabad United. And obviously, if they're winning, it does help. They're winning with Quetta Gladiators. A different story altogether. Moin Khan, obviously under a lot of criticism. Quetta overall as a side haven't been able to win a lot of games. It's been another year where they have not really found their winning ways yet. They have a chance today though. They're up against a very, very good side in the form of Islamabad United. They can hit cleanly and it's going to be a fascinating contest in Pindi Cricket Stadium. Hello and welcome on pitch side where we've got Islamabad United in action once again. They won their previous game. Azam Khan was on fire, absolute fire. That's the only way you can put it in that game. And he won it. He literally won it for Islamabad United, chasing over 200 runs. It was quite the performance for him and made quite a statement. Quetta Gladiators, on the other hand, well, things really haven't gone their way. Their batting has been something that they need to improve on. Lots of issues. Batting isn't the only issue. Lots of issues for them. But like I said, mathematically, they're not out of the competition yet. Now, I've been joined by Arooj Mumtaz. Arooj, welcome back. Nick Knight also joins us. Nice to have you back. We missed you.
Thank you very much. I missed you too, and it's nice to be back. It's Group A. Wherever we move becomes Group A.
Group A, Group B. We don't know which group we're in, but we just like to have a lot of fun together.
Absolutely.
All right, what we need to see is Quetta also have a bit of fun tonight, Nick, because that's been the one element that's been lacking from them.
Do you know what? You've nailed it there. Fun, I think it's the right word. I've been watching them warm up. I've been watching their games in the last few days and weeks. And you know what? That's it, isn't it? If I was manager or coach or selector, I'd say, just go out there. You've very little to lose now. I mean, the tournament's almost over for them in terms of qualification. be a dangerous side now. Sometimes you do see this in competitions where you lose your first 4 or 5 and actually somehow you come back into it because you see yourself as being a slightly dangerous side and you relax and you just go out there and show everyone how good a players you are and not what you've been doing in the past. I think that's the key word, really.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Islamabad United, Aruj, and in comparison, they've been so aggressive in their approach. And then you come at, you look at Quetta Gladiators, they've been rather cautious. You haven't really seen that kind of freedom that you see on the other side.
I mean, again, they're a side that has fun. They're relaxed, you watch around them, they have a smile on their face. When they talk about their cricket, it's not with sort of tense look on their face. Azam Khan in your post-match show the other day, he was having fun. So I think that's what it is. And just back on Nick's point, the fact is they can't lose anything from here. Right? Quetta Gladiators. What they can do is probably go out there and play the best cricket without having the fear of failure, because they're almost out of it. So they will have to pull something really special out of the hat to get through. They've got the firepower, they've got the names, but they've been so inconsistent, whether it's with the batting order, whether it's with the bowling options on the ground. Sarfaraz hasn't been able to nail down his spot. Iftikhar, who was in fantastic form, hasn't, according to me, hasn't been sent quite as far up. Jason Roy, big name, probably wasn't able to fire to that extent. Martin Guptill after that 100. Naseem Shah and Hasnain, 2 firehouses. Naseem Shah probably hasn't picked up the number of wickets Sarfaraz was hoping for. So there's been a lot of serious issues that have gone from players who you'd probably bank on delivering.
What's been impressive about Islamabad United for you then, Nick?
Gosh, how long have we got? I mean, there's no better side in the competition batting second, so that's the problem. When you bat first, you're thinking how many do you need to get. Their top order, I mean, good luck trying to get 4 into 3 there. If it was me, I'd play Gurbaz. I would put him straight back in and open with Alex Hales. I'd probably leave out Rassi van der Dusen. I mean, he's my favourite cricketer, that lad, and it's become even more so my favourite cricketer. I mean, you know, I don't think there's a player, well, there are not many, let's keep it real, there are not many, I don't think, that hit the ball as cleanly as him. And do you know the other thing, when you watch him play, he doesn't often get himself in trouble when his shot selection is very, very precise. You don't often see him lose his shape. You don't often see him, you know, grabbing at a ball that's not quite there. It's very calculated. It's very precise. And that shows me that he reads the game well as well. Not just all about power and hitting boundaries. He picks the right ball to play the right shot at the right time. So that tells me he's got a really good cricket brain. And that's no surprise because Dad, who I played a lot against, had a brilliant cricket brain. So there's a lot to like about Azam Khan.
There is definitely a lot to like about Azam Khan, and he's a crowd puller, he's a crowd entertainer. That's what we saw from him in that last one, and let's hope for more entertainment in this one. But for now, it's over to Danny Morrison, who has a very, very special guest with him.
Well, I've got to say that we love what we're wearing, and we're in Crew A, so we've been busy, right? We've been busy in Karachi, we've been in Pindi. Got to say, I love being in Pindi. But I've got a very special guest alongside who's trying to take me on in the wardrobe stakes, but here you are. It's about time you're here. Do something.
I'm back. Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled to be back in Pindi. First time since 2020 for me. Of course, back to 4 venues means there are 2 crews, but it's so good to see you, Uncle Dan. It's been way too long. But while I've got you, I wanted to talk to you about how you've seen the tournament so far, because we have been separated, like I said. What have you made of HPL PSL 8 so far?
I love the fact that we play on subtly different surfaces. I mean, the quick bowlers can have a say, and the batters, they try to have a say, but some of them have been not going so well. But what I do like in terms of the strike power of some of the guys that are doing really well, and Azam Khan, of course, we've just been chatting to him, Nick has as well, finding a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way. And these guys are starting to do it. So, yeah, very excited with him. I like the look of him. And I think, wow, he's going to have to get an opportunity for higher honours.
I mean, obviously, he's in action tonight for Islamabad United. But if you had to pick your favourite shot of the tournament, we had a Rashid Khan helicopter the other night in Lahore, which was awesome. But, you know, what shot stuck with you as the shot of the comp so far?
Look, I do love a helicopter, you're right. I think, you know, and then even Martin Guptill, you know, who's been playing for the Gladiators, got 100, but has not found that mojo anymore. So those sort of guys can do that. Hales here the other night was looking good, but again, I think the shot, and he's still here, that little flick of the wrists, boom, 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 with a flick of the wrist, Azam Khan. I mean, it sort of makes it a shot of his own. And I think, again, Aaron, the pitches, the nature of the surfaces allows these guys to do that.
The way he stands and delivers has just been exceptional. He's been such a huge part of the United's team. But the celebrations, I think the HBL PSL has the best celebrations of any league in the world, hands down. Everyone's got something, right? The Isanula and the Archer. What have you liked the most in terms of the celebration?
I do. I like all of that. You're right. There's different guys doing, sort of improvisations of the chainsaw and stuff, but I can't take my shoe off because they're too nice. They're too new. They won't stay on. I do like Shamsi and the phone, the shoe phone for me.
Phone home. I've just taken your wicket, Mum. Mum, you listening? And lastly, I mean, obviously you played international cricket for New Zealand. You've been around for a long time. What was your celebration back in the day?
Celebrations for us back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to tell you, we used to cut loose. Mrs. Cutting! We used to cut loose, and we used to do this all the time back in the 80s, because we could.
Oh, I missed you, Uncle Dan.
These two are absolute bonkers. There's no other word for it. They're absolutely mad. And they're always there to give us a laugh, Aruj.
Danny Morrison at his very best.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect anything else.
I mean, just when you think that, we know what he's coming up with, he's actually coming up with something that you just would never expect.
Do you know what? I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know that interview was going to happen. When I heard in my ear from Alvin, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? And it didn't disappoint.
Yeah, he definitely didn't disappoint. Equally entertaining. But all right, we're talking about Islamabad United. I know we've spoken about Azam Khan, but there's one area, Aruj, where they could perhaps improve. We're talking about their bowling, because they have that ability to chase big targets, but do you think that's an area where we were discussing it in the previous game in the studio, that is an area perhaps where they could improve?
And also when they'll come up against Lahore Qalandars or even Multan Sultans, that is some area where they will sort of not be troubled by too much, but again, they're a big team on match and stats and numbers, and matchups play a huge role. But I did ask Shadab at one of the post-match that does that take over or is instinct as well? So he does go with his gut feel, but again, he's got the resources. He himself hasn't been his best because his finger is still slightly sore and swollen. He's probably their biggest match winner in terms of bowling, and I think once he starts clicking, that story could be slightly different.
All right, Nick, you were touching upon Azam Khan and what makes him so special, and the fact that he's playing proper cricketing shots, but you saw him last year as well. I mean, if you compare his evolution from last year and you compare it to this year, I mean, what is the main difference that you've picked up on?
I think it's just confidence and belief in your own ability, and that is such a dangerous cocktail when you get that as a professional player, as an international player. When you know that you've got the potential to do something, but you start doing it regularly, that then gives you that inner self-belief that makes you more consistent. And I think that's every top-class sportsman, whether it be cricket, rugby, any sport, you're looking for consistency. And consistency only really ever comes, in my opinion, humble opinion, when you genuinely believe in yourself that you can do that. And I only think you can genuinely believe when you keep doing it. So that's the element really, is consistency. We know every player can go out and hit a 4 and a 6 and look great, and we up in the Commonwealth, that's amazing. But keep doing it, and then keep doing it again. And then, by the way, keep doing it again. And that's, I think, a pathway that he's onto now.
Yeah. And definitely been, shown a lot more self-belief that we've seen in the last year. It's grown with every innings that he's played. And because we're talking about Azam Khan today and all his strengths and, bigging him up, he's also in our numbers game today. Well, power hitting has been one area where Pakistan, the national side, has rather lacked over the last few years, and there's not really been a player who's had that ability to clear the field and hit it clean. But Azam Khan, Aruj, if you look at that, 137 sixes since 2020 in T20s. I mean, if there was any, you're talking about having guys who have that 6 hitting ability, he's right up there.
Oh, by far, by a long margin. He's 26 innings ahead of Mohammad Rizwan with the same number of 6s. Mohammad Rizwan, who plays every T20 game right on the top, giving himself the maximum opportunity. Azam Khan walks into the middle where the situation always different. And this is off late. His probably 6 tally has grown off late, with coming back to Nick's point where he's so much more assured of himself with that positive mindset that he talks about that makes his performance that much more better. He can hit the ball and it is well controlled, well assured, and he's quite a match winner.
And let's be honest, when he gets fitter, and I think he will get fitter. And it's not for me one size fits all. You don't have to be doing 5Ks in whatever because somebody else has done it. Slowly build that back up. I think physical fitness for me equals mental fitness, and that's where I'm going with that. I think there's still a lot more to come from that young fella. And if he can become more physically fit, that becomes more mentally fit, because let's face it, nobody likes doing physical in the gym, really, or not many do. So it's tough. And that makes you more resilient as a player. And when he gets more resilience as a player, he's going to get even better. So I think there's still a long way to go yet before we see the best of him.
Yeah, physical and mental fitness go hand in hand. I mean, and that's one thing that we've seen. It has an impact on your overall game. Yeah, that was the numbers game for you. All right, it's all been about Azam Khan today. Islamabad United looking good overall as a side. Quetta Gladiators have a chance to redeem themselves in this one. On that note, we'll take a short breather and be back just in a bit. Building up nicely here for Islamabad United versus Quetta Gladiators. And just before the break, we were talking about Azam Khan and what makes him so special, and the fact that his basics are right. As a batsman, his basics are something that Nick Knight pointed out as well. And because we're talking about batting, it's time to head over to Bazat Khan, who's out there with Aaron Holland, talking about batting and more in detail about batting.
Well, I'm Australian and I've been doing backyard cricket in my backyard at home for so many years, but the one thing is I've never actually learnt the correct technique for batting properly. So when Professor Bazat Khan is in the house, who better to walk us through the very basics of how to grip a bat properly? Bazat, I mean, you know, walk me through it, because I want to take down Ben the next time I'm playing backyard cricket in the backyard. What's the first step when it comes to picking up a bat for the first time?
Firstly, you've got to dress properly. You can't do it in this dress.
Looking very fancy.
Yeah, but what we've always been taught is that you hold the bat like a hammer. So imagine this as Thor's hammer, a big hammer. So you pick it up and you can smash it down. So you want your grip to be nice and easy there. The other part is the 2 V's. So my left hand and my right hand makes a couple of V's, which will go down the bat, maybe through the center, or maybe just a little to the left.
Okay.
That's basic. And then obviously there's a lot of variations to that. There's no one set way. The players like Sachin Tendulkar, who used to low down, his grip was right next to the blade of the bat, that gave him more control. Gilchrist, he went right up, so he had more leverage in those shots that he played, as you know. And then many other variations. One that comes to mind is the rounded grip of the bottom hand. So a player like Graham Smith, who was so good through the leg side, it was all because of that rounded grip. And that made him so positive through the onside. Even when he was trying to hit it through cover, it actually went straight because of that grip. So there's no one way to grip the bat. There's plenty of ways to grip the bat. But the basics are that we were told to just concentrate on the V's down the center of the bat.
Concentrate on the V's. And how tightly should I be gripping that bat as well, just before we end?
As tight as you want. Nowadays you can grip it as like you want, but they used to say maybe the left hand, the top hand slightly tighter. But there's one variation that I haven't talked about, is the bigger players, like the best player in the world ever, Bradman. He had a split grip. Yeah, I think Steve Smith plays with a split grip. They say that almost the 2 hands work independently of each other. But what you want, because you're Australian, you want to grip it right at top.
Right at the top.
And then Ben's bowling and you hit him out of the park. He's not going to bounce you. He's never going to bounce you.
Oh, I think he might try and bounce me, knowing
right
Ben.
On the top. Ben, you're in for trouble.
All right, well, what I'm getting is 2 V's, get your stance nice and good, and just swing hard, hey? Simple as that.
I'm not sure you can get the correct grip in this Sherwani, by the way, or get your batting stance right, Nick. But yeah. Oh my.
What's going on here? What is going on here?
I did.
Are you playing golf there?
Yeah, we're
Are you playing cricket?
We're trying to. We're trying to.
Rouge, what are you doing there?
Listen, we're looking good while doing it. That's what matters.
Correct.
No. We're pretty good at the swing as well.
All right. I'm learning. Aruj is my coach. I'm learning from
Thank
them.
you.
So please, I hope I've saved myself the embarrassment, because if anyone has anything to say, just blame Aruj. All right. Time for a break. We'll be back with the toss and the pitch report. Well, over 200 runs were chased down on this very ground the other day. Aruj, considering that, and Islamabad United prefers to chase as well. I mean, it's a tough one, but like, what would you say? Win the toss?
Is that a trick question?
Win the toss and?
Nick, win the toss and?
Well, if you're Islamabad, you win the toss and bowl first, but they might be brave like they were in this fixture in Karachi and bat first to test themselves for future games.
Interesting. So they might want to challenge themselves, is what Nick Knight is saying. And because we are talking about the toss, we are now ready, because we've got Darren Ganga out there who's with the two captains. And we shall see what happens, because there's been a trend so far in the HPL PSL with regards to the toss. Batting first seems to be an option that a lot of sides have explored, but they've won a lot of games. So let's find out what happens at the toss. Over to you, DG.
I'm feeling quite spectacular in this green Sherwani, but I'm more excited to lead this Be Love Network coin toss. I have the pleasure of introducing the match referee, Roshan Mahanama, alongside the captains, Safraz Ahmed of Quetta Gladiators and Shadab Khan of Islamabad United. Shadab, you've got the coin?
Heads. Heads is the call.
Call made. What's the verdict?
Tails.
Shadab, you win again. Tell me, what are you going to do and the reasons for that decision?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, we wanted to bowl first. Reason is like we wanted to chase because it's my home ground and I think it's very difficult to contain the score.
4 wins from 6 matches so far. How would you assess your season?
So far so good. I think as a bowling unit we have to chip up and start performing as well. Maybe because our batting is performing, so we have to, as a bowling unit, we have to perform as well.
Yeah, in those 4 wins, 3 times you chased. Again, you've chosen that option once more. Is that a strength within your team?
Yeah, because we have a depth on our batting, so we want to stay on our strength. That's why we always wanted to bowl first.
You made 2 changes in your last game against Lahore. Are you making changes to your 11 today?
Yeah, two changes. Gurbaz in and Faruqi comes in.
All the very best to you.
Thank you.
Let's get Safraz in here. Had you won the toss, what you would have done, Safraz?
Actually, I'm a little bit confused, but good to lose the toss.
All right. Tough season so far for you. Still with 4 matches remaining, you have the potential to still qualify in the playoffs. What was your message to your team before this game?
Definitely the simplest match is we have nothing to lose. We have to, if we want to qualify in playoffs, so we have to win all 4 matches. So hopefully we will discuss with the team meeting as well. So hopefully everything will be fine today. And inshallah we will bounce back, inshallah.
That batting is a grave concern for you. How have you addressed that to rectify getting more runs from your batters?
Yeah, actually, the concern is, first power play. So last match we played well in power play, but the middle overs, there is a concern. So we made a couple of changes in the team. So hopefully everything will be fine today.
You want to tell me who those changes are?
Yeah, 2 changes. Martin Capital is not playing. Najibullah Zadan comes into the team, and Hafiz Bhai is not well, and Omar Akmal back into the team.
2019 was a fabulous year for you as captain when you won this title. How do you compare the challenge of this edition of HBL PSL?
Different challenges. Actually, if you ask me about the all 8 seasons, I think this is the best team we made. Actually we didn't perform in the ground. So we talked to the boys yesterday. Hopefully bounce back as a team, inshallah.
All right, all the very best to you. So the news from the middle, Islamabad United, they've won the toss and they will bowl first, not surprisingly. And I have an expert alongside me who will give us a little more insight into this pitch. Bazid Khan, good to see you.
Good to
Tell
see
us
you,
a little bit about what you see from the surface.
again, I see runs. This is the venue where you look at the venue, look at the pitch, and you look at the small venue. It's all about getting those boundaries away. Outfield very quick. So you hit the gap, you get a boundary. You hit over the top. If you time it well enough, you're going to get a maximum. So there's plenty of runs. I don't think there is anything sort of dissimilar to the two pitches that we've already had games on.
Were you surprised that Shadab Khan opted to chase?
No, again, it's a difficult defending ground because of the fact that once a batter gets on a roll, Azam Khan, Imad Wasim, once they get on a roll, it's very difficult to contain. The only thing you can do is go to death bowling very early, wide Yorkers very early. I'm talking about maybe the 6th, 7th over, start from there, because 9 in over, the average scoring rate on this venue.
I know you're smiling as a batter. Batters definitely will thrive here. We'll have to wait and see how this one pans out.
Yeah, they've opted to chase again, once again. Nick, obviously not listening to you, are they? You're batting first, but they're playing to their strengths because chasing seems to be a strength of this.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it because a week and a bit ago they didn't do that, did they? I mean, clearly they are the best side batting second, so you should do that to get your points, to get yourself in the top 2. But he did it slightly differently because he wanted to challenge his team with a view to the forward. And I like that in some senses. But actually, when you've really got to start knuckling down and winning games, that is no surprise that they've done it that way around. No surprise as well for me that Gurbaz comes in the side, because I think that's a better way to go. Rassi van der Dusen is a good player, particularly when the pitch is a little slower and spinners are more in the game, but that's not the case out there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nick, for your thoughts. Like Bazat Khan said, this is a hard ground to defend on. Lots and lots of runs in that pitch, and Islamabad United is the kind of team that likes to chase down any given target that they have in front of them. On that note, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back to look at the teams in closer detail. Back at Pindi Cricket Stadium, beautiful evening as always here in Rawalpindi. The weather is great, and what a stunning shot this is of the moon as we look forward to this game between Islamabad United and Quetta Gladiators. Islamabad United, by the way, has won the toss and they have elected to field first. I've now been joined by the Dule Miyan, Bazat Khan. Dule Miyan, आज तो लग रहा है कि वलीमे पे जा रहे हैं, बस कुल्ले की कमी है, कुल्ला बना दे सर को.
प्लेयर्स ने तो सबने शादियां कर ली, हमें तो बुलाया नहीं, लेकिन अब मैंने कहा शायद पहन के आऊंगा. आपकी भी हो चुकी है, दोबारा तो नहीं करने का था ना, नाहिल देख रही होगी ये. पहन के आऊं तो शायद मुझे बुला ले कोई शादी पे.
अच्छा, चले थोड़ी सी क्रिकेट की बात भी कर लेते हैं. क्वेटा ग्लैडिएटर्स की 2 चेंजेस हैं. They've made 2 changes. Quetta Gladiators, Islamabad United has also made a couple of changes. Baz, you've got Najibullah Zadran and Umar Akmal coming in for Quetta Gladiators. Good changes?
Najibullah a बहुत dangerous player है. मेरे ख्याल especially on this ground he'll be very dangerous. शायद उनको ये लगता है कि middle order में कोई ऐसा player जो कि game change कर सके. Umar Akmal again, he plays spin very well. हमने देखा है कि all throughout his career he's quite willing to take the spinners on. तो कितना मौका मिलता है उनको spinners पे. But I think their bowling has to fire. It is a ground where runs तो बन ही जाएंगे, but if your bowling does well, then you're in the game.
Definitely, they will require that as well with the kind of batting lineup Islamabad United has. Arooj, इनके 2 changes हैं. गुरबाज वापस आए हैं at the top and फजल हक फारूकी इनकी bowling में आए.
इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड की टीम अगेन दे बैट टिल 7. वो हसन अली, रोमान रईस वो भी हिटिंग कर ही लेते हैं. जो चेंजेस हैं आई थिंक दे वर good changes, but they've got the options and the availability, and they're almost जैसे आप कहती ना embarrassment of riches वाली कहानी है यहाँ पर कि गुरबाज already अपनी innings यहाँ पर already 2-3 मैचेस में बहुत अच्छी खेल चुके हैं. Good addition to that top order, but look at that, गुरबाज, हेल्स, मनरो, शादाब, आजम, आसिफ अली. तो जो बात करें कि क्वेटा ग्लैडिएटर्स की बॉलिंग की, और सबसे बड़ा जो हिट है क्वेटा को, जो एक वाहिद बॉलर उनकी बॉलिंग अच्छी करा था, हसनैन. He is obviously injured or is carrying a niggle and hasn't been able to play. तो वो जो फैक्टर है कितना उनको और हिंडर करेगा. उमैद, आसिफ और नवीन उल हक ने लास्ट मैच में खेला था और दोनों ने अच्छी बॉलिंग की थी. बट विकेट्स विल हैव टू बी की. फर्स्टली गेट द रन्स ऑन द बोर्ड and then try and stop Islamabad's fire order.
Right, we're talking about Islamabad United. तो एक चीज़ जो हम हमेशा mention करते हैं कि इस्लामाबाद की टीम के spirits बहुत अच्छे होते हैं. No matter what happens, they're always laughing. They're always the mood is always light in their camp, and that's also because of one guy. And we're talking about Saeed Ajmal. Saeed भाई जब भी होते हैं तो बहुत शुगर लगता है, and he's always smiling. I've actually never ever seen him sort of under stress, or there's never a dull moment when he is around. And he caught up earlier. Bazid Khan caught up earlier with Saeed Ajmal.
मेरे साथ सईद अजमल, इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड के असिस्टेंट कोच. सईद, आजम खान बहुत अच्छी फॉर्म में है. आप नेट्स में बॉलिंग कर रहे हैं उनको?
जी, मेरा बिल्कुल ही मार खाने को दिल कर रहा है. माशाल्लाह जिस तरह की वो बैटिंग कर रहे हैं, तो नेट तो खैर उनको ज़रूरत नहीं है लग रहा है, बट खाने की ज़रूरत है बहुत ज़्यादा जो वो खाते हैं.
ये बताएं कि T20 क्रिकेट में ज़्यादा स्पिनर्स को काफ़ी हर दूसरे दिन मार पड़ती है, तो कमबैक कैसे होता है? एक दिन मार पड़ती है, अगले दिन फिर आगे फिर वही सिनारियो होता है.
एक्चुअली मैं थोड़ा सा इसको करेक्ट कर देता हूँ. हर दूसरे दिन नहीं, हर रोज़ मार पड़ रही है. ये जिस तरह की विकेटें हैं और 65 मीटर की बाउंड्रीज हैं, और जिस तरह के बैटर आपको पता है बैटिंग कर रहे हैं, मोटे मोटे बैट हैं, और बचना बहुत मुश्किल है. स्पिनर को सिर्फ एक ही मेरी रिक्वेस्ट होती है कि प्लीज़ ट्राई करें कि थोड़ा सा खिंचा हुआ दूर रख के बॉल करें. उसमें एटलीस्ट सम टाइम बचत है, बट आगे वाले बॉल पे बिल्कुल नहीं है, और बहुत ज़्यादा पीछे भी शॉर्ट ऑफ लेंथ वाले बॉल पे भी बिल्कुल बचत नहीं है, और हल्का सा मिडल होता है, और कैचेट की सिर्फ आवाज़ आती है, पर होता क्राउड में है.
क्राउड में होता है. ये बताएं कि जब भी इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड से बात करते हैं तो वो कहते हैं हम डेटा पे बहुत गौर करते हैं, हम मैचअप्स पे बहुत करते हैं. इस सारे सिनारियों में सईद अजमल इनको क्या बताता है?
देखिए, मैं इनको मेंटली स्ट्रांग करता हूँ अपने बॉलर को. स्पेशली मैंने बहुत मुश्किल टाइम पे पाकिस्तान की तरफ से बॉलिंग किया. मैं कहता हूँ कि कोई विकेट ऐसी नहीं है जो आप लोगों के लिए नहीं बनी. जब आप ये सोच के जाएंगे कि विकेट बैटिंग है, तो फिर बैटिंग ही है. अगर आप सोच के जाएंगे कि इस विकेट में मैंने कुछ करना है, देन वो कुछ ना कुछ अचीव जरूर कर लेता है. अगर आप घर से निकल के ही कहेंगे कि मेरा दरवाज़ा कोई नॉक नहीं करेगा, तो वो तो करेगा. तो लिहाजा विकेट तो बैटिंग है. अब मैंने अभी भी देखी है, जो पिच है वो फ्लैट लाइक कंक्रीट है, और इस पर अब बॉलिंग भी करनी है, बॉलर ने तो करनी ही करनी है. तो इसके लिए थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए. तो मेरे ख्याल में 5 में से 2 बॉलर तो ऐसे ज़रूर है जो हर मैच में अच्छी बॉलिंग करते हैं. तो क्यों नहीं एक और तो बेहतर हो सकता है. बट एक ही चीज़ है, उसमें कॉन्फिडेंस आपका अच्छा था.
कहते तो आप हैं कि अभी भी आप जवान हैं, लेकिन जब से आपने क्रिकेट खेली है, T20 क्रिकेट, और अब चूँकि जो T20 क्रिकेट है उसमें कितना फ़र्क आया है?
फ़र्क तो कोई ख़ास नहीं है. पहले तो थोड़ी सी बड़ी बाउंड्री थी, अब लोग इंटरटेनमेंट चाह रहे होते हैं, और वो यही है इंटरटेनमेंट की बाउंड्री छोटी करो, बॉलर को जितना चाहे मारो. उस वक्त भी मार पड़ती थी, बट ये अगर थोड़ी रिस्पेक्ट थी, मगर आजकल बिल्कुल नहीं. टू बी ऑनेस्ट, थैंक यू, अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि मैंने जल्दी रिटायरमेंट दे दी, अदरवाइज मुझे भी आज मार ही पड़ रही होती.
चलिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच, आपने हमारे लिए टाइम निकाला.
थैंक यू, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. थैंक यू.
साइंस इज द मैन. सईद अजमल ने उनकी बड़ी फेमस लाइन्स थी, और आज बाजिद से उन्होंने बात की. बाज, such an interesting character he is, and like you were asking him about कि तुम क्या input देते हो, तुम लोग, you know, like as a side they seem to always think through everything, but he said कि मैं तो सबका मोरल लिफ्ट करता हूँ, and he's very good at that.
Absolutely. फैसलाबाद के जितने होते हैं, almost all of them जुगतों के तो मास्टर होते हैं, इनसे रहा नहीं जाता. बट yes, मोरल मतलब उस तरह से कि अगर आप मार खा के भी आए, जैसे वो कह रहा है कि even if you've been smashed around, ये आपको हंसाएगा, उस तरह बेहतर करेगा. The other part, इसका 2 रुख हैं. एक तो winning side is always happy and a happy side is always winning. तो देख लें कौन सा वाला.
कौन जीतेगा अरूज? इतना ही टाइम है.
इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड.
इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड. अरूज ने बोल दिया इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड जीतेगा. And it was great to hear the thoughts of Saeed Ajmal from them as well. We're now ready, only moments away from all the live action. Islamabad United have won the toss and they have elected to field first. So don't go too far, because we are ready for the game to begin.